Had a wonderful weekend?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you had to think about that one, didn't you? Super duper. Okay. So we'll just give it 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll start up. Hopefully, all of you received the file. Oh, good Monday morning. Fantastic. Dia, good show. Mute you for a moment. Good. And we still have quite a few yet. Okay.
Some of them didn't get the invite, so I'm just going to try to forward it to them.
Okay. Who didn't get the invite?
Rupinder and
Really?
yeah.
Let's see who we have here. Melanie.
Able to forward it.
Calendar and check your course. It always seems to have some people sleeping.
Michael, do we need a book for this course?
Inside of Cengage.
Okay, because I never got a code from Lilani.
No, you're an older student, so I'll be giving you a code.
Okay.
Okay, it's only that when you're a brand spanking new student that you actually get a code.
I actually didn't get a code for Excel.
Yeah, as I just said a moment ago, I'll be sending out that code a little bit later.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, Joyta. Super duper. Okay. Let's just double check. Have here. And let's join. Let's join.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I was, I think, so in different place. So that's the
Okay.
right one.
Fantastic. You got the right place now then.
Yeah.
Okay, just giving a couple of minutes to some of the newer students who may not be that sure how to connect right away. So let's give it a couple of minutes. Oops. One more.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. We're just giving a couple of minutes to some of the newer students. And then we'll start up. Looks like we have a few who slept in. Natasha. And this one. Response. Fantastic. And we need the rest. Just give me 1 second here. Share. And, fantastic. Okay, super duper. So I'm just going to start up. Give me 1 quick second. Check. I have Teams meetings from 9 until 10. Can I join earlier? Yes. Okay. That's Leilani. Okay, so let's just get rid of that picture. Fantastic. So can everyone see my screen before I go any further?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes, fantastic.
Yes, Michael.
Excellent. So just going to do quick attendance here. There we go. And fantastic. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing over the next 2 weeks. This is a really phenomenal program, this Excel. I don't know how many of you have used it before. How many of you have? Just put up your hand. You'll notice that on the bar that you have here with your picture and everything on it, you'll actually have a little hand. You can always put your hand up as well. Oh, look at all those hands. Fantastic. This is handy, right? Neat stuff. Good show. So if you've ever used Excel before, sometimes you learn a great deal about it. Sometimes you just kind of monkey around a little bit with it. We're actually going to dig into it a little bit. We're going to take a much closer look so that we get a better perspective as to how to go about exploring it, using it. There's a lot of really beautiful tools that are part of it, and some of them rarely are used. So we're going to explore that a little bit. For some of you, you're going to learn some new, let's say, formulas that maybe you've never used before, or methods that you weren't too sure about. And we're going to explore each and every one of those. So you can take your hands down, and we'll leave that for a little bit later. So the first thing I wanted to define to you is there are 3 ways that I explore this course. The first is I've provided for you not only on a daily basis the training that I'll be giving you, but I'll be sending you a variety of files from time to time as well, so that you have some unusual ways of exploring this particular product. So every so often I'll drop something into the chat and I'll let you know it's there, and I'll leave it in other locations as well, just so that you have it. So one of the locations that I've created for you, and I use this for every course as I go along, is this particular Teams. Now, there is on the left-hand side of your Teams screen, you'll actually see a little Teams, unless, of course, you're using, let's say, the online version, which you may not actually see that. You want to download the app so that it's on your computer, and you can always use it on your particular computer. So just make sure that you are using the downloaded version of Teams. So inside of Teams, I've already sent you an invitation to this part of it as well. This part is just for extra information and resources. It's not the actual meetings that we do on a daily basis. That's the email I sent you. I will be sending it out a second time because I think a couple of students have not opened their emails yet or haven't seen it. But when you open up Outlook, you'll automatically see that you have appointments in your calendar. And you just need to double click on them, open them up, and all of a sudden you'll see those particular events taking place. Just to give you a quick example, I'm just going to pull this over here so I can see it. When I look at calendar, I'll actually see that I have something going on. If I double click on it, you'll see the Excel will actually be green. If you double click on it, you can open that up. Whoops, opened on the other screen. There we go. You'll actually have an email that looks just like this, got a little green sticker on the top, and it's the Excel. Inside of it, there were two files. Now, I'm actually going to replace the practice file that I sent you, but we'll use it to start off with. And then, of course, we'll use it as we go along a little bit as well. Inside of this email, of course, there's the link.
I love it successful. Thank you, Ramona.
Good morning.
Okay.
So not only will you see a link here within that email, but you'll also see a Teams meeting link at the top as well. And that's basically to connect on a daily basis. So every day you'll connect on that, and that will give you access to this class. Of course, you did receive several other emails as well. Let me just get rid of that. Pull that out of the way. Fantastic. And I'm just going to turn that off for a moment. Fantastic. Good show. So let me just mute you for a moment. Okay, good show. So back here to Teams again. So inside, you also received that extra, which gave you access to this particular portal. This portal is Excel, and you click on Teams, you get it. And there are 3 channels inside. General, and general is just for your sake. So between you, you can chat with one another. You'll see that there is a beautiful little picture here of a nice looking guy. And it's a little video, it's just a welcome video. And then of course, there are 2 that you really do want to be aware of. The first one is on a daily basis, I'm actually videotaping this particular session, and there are additional elements in here. The demo file, I have to replace this because of a student in my last class actually modified it by accident, didn't actually know what they were doing. And of course, you'll see a daily basis, there will be training. And in addition to this, there is a 3rd channel, and that 3rd channel, I throw in extras. So every so often, these are all little videos that you can play. If you're not too sure about a particular method, insert, delete, and of course, there are a lot of different variations in here. Lots of different tools. Some of the formulas that are used and how they go about using them, I've thrown them in here just to kind of add a little extra. Now, in addition to this, in resources, this channel here, you're actually going to see files, and files, when you open it up, will actually have additional files that we're going to be using. Now, the Excel data files, I'm going to have to replace that today. So just keep this in mind. Some students, unfortunately, have kind of modified some of those files. When you click on it, you can see the little icon here on the side, little tiny circle. When you click on it, you can then download it. What I would like you to do, however, is always download. So instead of actually just, oops, for instance, instead of just simply clicking on it and opening it up, I'd like you to put a little check mark and then download it. These files are really small, and therefore, if you download it, you'll have your own copy of it. If you open it up, you'll be modifying that file, and the next student who's trying to download it, they won't be able to download it because it'll be one of your files. So you definitely want to download it all. And there's a little icon up here that says download. When you click on this, it will automatically download to your computer. By default, it always places it into a folder called downloads. So when you're looking for something that you've clicked on, whether it's a project or it happens to be something else that you're needing, when you click on it to download it, it'll always put it into that folder. So that's a default value. So just keep in mind, you're going to download it. Now, let's take a look at some of the other things that we want to explore here as well. I'm just going to pull this out of the way for a moment. Fantastic. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to open up our student outline. So for the next 2 weeks, this document was also included in the email that I sent you. So you'll have this available to you, and you'll be able to use it whenever you want to know what is possibly. Just give me 1 second. I seem to have somebody stuck out there somewhere. Oops. Oops, where are we? Oh, it's just somebody with their hand up. Okay. One quick second. Okay. My apologies. Mondays are usually like this, so not to worry too much. Okay, so what you see on the screen right now is your student outline. And I did send a copy of that to you as well. So you have it available to you and you can always explore it on your own. It will give you a good indication as to what we're doing at the moment, so to speak. So you'll always be able to explore what am I responsible for today, in addition to what I tell you as well. So inside of this, it really is going to define what we wanted to accomplish with this course. It's only an introduction. To be quite honest with you, Excel is such a powerful program. It's used by analysts, it's used by people in business all the time. It is such a powerful program, and we'll see just a little bit of that as we go along. But we want to learn how to edit this. We want to understand it a little bit and how to modify it. And we also want to take a look at some of the tools that Excel allows us to use to analyze information. In addition to this, how the functioning takes place in the background, why it does what it does and how it goes about doing it. And then we'll take a look at the spreadsheets for printing, because printing is a little bit different. Unlike Word and Outlook and some of the other programs, PowerPoint as well, this one is quite different the way it actually structures for printing. We'll take a look at cell and range references. This is a really important area, and it's actually a very simple area. So these are one of the reasons we want to explore this particular product, and we're going to really go a little deeper too. The textbook is online, and this is with Sam Cengage. Now, it's actually cengage.com, and we're going to explore that a little bit later. So about 9:10, 9:15, we're actually going to go into that a little bit. If you have not actually received an email from Academic Services, then you're going to have to get in touch with Leilani and myself, and we'll actually go through it. For the newer students, you're the ones who receive the email. For the older students who have been with me since the last course, then you're going to get a special number. So don't worry about that. I will send that number to you shortly, but don't expect it right away. So the book is actually online, and I'll show you that in a few minutes as well. So how are you graded in this particular course? That's actually a very important element as well, because you definitely need to, whoops, here we go again. Okay, you definitely need to know how we're going to grade you as well. So this is something that is really important. And number one, the trainings that are online. When you complete them, and I'm just going to open up Cengage on the side here as well, but when you complete those, you're actually going to get a mark, and it's going to give you a little check mark beside each one that you do correctly. And when you do that and you filled them all out, you'll actually get a percentage called, in this case here, it's 10% for all of them. There are 5 of them, and you'll get 2% for each one. So this is actually a great way of personifying the knowledge that you're learning and actually learning little tools and tricks along with it. I'll be showing you 1 or 2 different methods of doing the same thing, and Cengage will show you 3 different methods of doing the same thing. So you'll get a chance to explore with the training. In addition to the training, there's also a lot of projects that you're going to be doing as well. And I'm just simply going to open that up so that you can actually see what I'm going to see in a moment. So let me just log in quickly here. Fantastic. Excuse me. My throat's been giving me a little dryness. Too much meditating, I think. Okay, there we go. I just open up Excel. Fantastic. So just to give you a general understanding as to what Cengage looks like, I've just opened it up here. And what you will normally see is a screen that looks very much like this once you've logged in. It'll have a folder here called Excel. It'll also have the final test and also professionalism. Don't worry about professionalism. It's a mark that I put in for you, so you don't have to worry about this at all. The Excel side, however, when you click on it, you'll actually notice there are 4 objects inside of it. And each one of them has a little chevron here like an arrow. And when you click on it, it'll actually open up and show you the book, okay, for that particular chapter. And it also tells you what it's about, getting started. Now, keep in mind, getting started is a little bit more advanced than that. And here's the training. So the training is in here. And when you complete something in the training, it'll actually give you a mark for it. So I'm going to click on it quickly to open it up. And you do need to have Flash inside your browser. So when I click on Start, and by the way, the trainings you can do over and over and over again as often as you want to. At the top of the screen, and it'll open up like this. So this is the very first training. There are right now, if you look at the left-hand side at the top, there are 33 elements within this first training. And I can actually see them by clicking on the More tag here, which is the 3 little lines. If I click on it, I can actually see each one of them, and I can actually click on one of them and jump to that particular question. So in this case, I could then go through this. These are broken into 4 segments. The first segment is just information about this particular operation. Whatever it happens to be, it'll give you a brief description on the right-hand side of the screen, and it will then tell you that there are several different ways of doing the same thing. And if you click on each one of these, it'll give you an indicator as to how you would go about doing that particular operation. So in this case here, it's renaming a worksheet, and there are 5 different approaches to do that. As one thing to keep in mind with Microsoft is that they always give you a minimum of 3 different approaches to do the same thing. So there's always at least 3 ways of exploring something or applying a particular something. The next part is called Observe, and if I click on this, it says it's a video, and it is. The individual, and I'm just going to click on it, and then I'm going to stop it right away. Fantastic, and she will walk you through it. The practice, however, is a little different because it's like Observe, but the difference is you have to do the clicking this time. They just tell you what they want you to do. And Apply is when you actually get marks for it. So when you click on Apply and you actually go through the operation, of doing exactly what they're asking you to do here with this little dialog box, and then it's up to you to click wherever you have to click. It will say it's successful, or it'll tell you it's not successful. So you just have to do it again. And my suggestion is, if you're not that successful, take another look at observe. Now, there's one thing I want you to remember as an absolute, and that is that when it's being marked by a computer. So even if you have the slightest little variance from what they've asked you to do, it'll mark it as wrong. And that goes for projects as well. And this is a big area for most students, is either you've added an extra space or you've added a dot or something like that, or you put it in the wrong spot. And I will show you what I mean by that a little bit later. But that actually will be marked as incorrect, and it's not a problem to fix. So it's always something very simple in most cases. So once again, there are 33 questions here, and anytime there is a little green check mark on the side here, it means it's successful. You've done it correctly. But that doesn't mean you can't do it again, and it will always remember that you have a check mark. So if you got interrupted by the kids, or you had to go out or something like that, and you had to close it up, let's just say I closed up the quiz itself, I can always come back in and restart that quiz again. Just going to close this. There we go. And in addition to this, there was also a quiz. Now the timing is here. So if it's not that particular date, the quiz won't open, it's locked. So just keep this in mind, and it has a very specific time interval. You must be tracking the time. It'll monitor it for you. It will show you what it is, but just keep track of it because it's a one-shot deal. Once you start the quiz, you cannot stop it. It has to go to completion. If for any reason you lose internet or your computer crashes, which mine did on Friday, oddly enough, then you definitely want to get in touch with me ASAP, and I will try to help you with it. The other thing here are projects, and projects are rather interesting. Now, we are going to take a quick look, and then I will go through this again later. But when you click on your project, and there are 4 projects here as well, by the way. I thought there were 5, there's 4. You get 2 attempts at it. Never, ever, 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 ever do both attempts one after the other. Give a little bit of time in between, and always check everything. So if you have submitted and everything was basically good, and you wanted to make an adjustment to one of the things that was, let's say, incorrect, then you must check every other one before you resubmit again. So once you've made the alteration, you must go back and check everything else. The problem is sometimes when you're opening and making changes, then that particular file can actually make some adjustments by itself. Just simply by clicking on different things, you may have changed the dynamics of that particular file. And therefore, when you uploaded it for the second time, you may find that other errors now occur simply because you did make modifications. So when I click on Start for a project, it will show me that there are several files. One will always be your instruction, and one will always be the file to apply it to. And that name will always have your name in it. So you cannot use anything from someone else, because inherently inside the document itself, your name is in the tag that holds onto that file. It's called a meta tag, and you cannot remove the name. So make sure that you're only submitting the one that you created. And when you submit it, you're actually going to change only one thing. And that's this last little number, number 1, will become a number 2. You'll change that when you save it. And of course, in that case, I'll just upload it. So it'll ask me to go find it. And then, of course, this is the name it expects. Remember that little 1 becomes a number 2. And it should tell you immediately, did you pass, fail, how much? Remember, this is a computer doing this, so it's almost instantaneous. By the time you upload it, it's evaluated every element within that document. Along the right-hand side, not only will your score appear here, but your ability to check your grade book will be here as well. Don't expect too much until you're a little bit into this. But on the left-hand side, you also will have some tools. And the little book that you have here is the entire book. So when you click on that, you'll be able to open up the entire book. And this little icon here that looks like 4 little arrows will open up for the full page. And I can then scan through this. I can jump between pages. I can print something if I want to print it as well. So jumping between them, and let's just go here. So in this case here, I could jump through the whole document and take a look at the various sections within it. Fantastic, good show. Excellent. So the book is available to you as well, and you can then jump between the various sections within the book as well. And of course, this is the whole book. If I just close this with the X, excuse me. The book is also available in each section as well for that section. And remember the files I showed you just a little while ago inside of Teams, those files are the ones used by this book. So those files are available. And by the way, the book will provide you with links as well. So everything is available to you online. So let me just pull this out of the way. Fantastic, and we're back to where we were. So that's the 10% and the 40% for the 4 projects. In addition to that, those quizzes, there are several quizzes, and that's 15% as well. The quizzes are very similar to the training, where you are actually given a scenario, little tiny question, and it is you take your mouse and you point and you click. And when you click on the right things and you do the operation the right way, it gives you a mark for it. So the unit tests are very similar to the training as far as that goes. And so is the final test, very similar as well. And the final test is actually 25%, and that's online as well. So it's the same idea as the quizzes and the training. It will give you a little scenario, little question. You'll click, click, click on whatever it is in order to make it happen, and it will give you a mark for it. And it does it in real time. I believe you get 3 attempts at a question, but I could be wrong. So again, I have to double check that. As far as the exam is concerned, it's a one-shot deal. You cannot close it when you start the test. You must sit through the entire test and finish it off. And it's usually only 3 to 3.5 hours long. So it's not a very long test. Believe me, I've done tests that are much longer than that. Professional performance is something I will put in. And this is something that is dealt with based on your attendance, your finishing projects on time. Remember, the projects are timed as well. So you do want to make sure that you get it in. It's usually 2 days, but I sometimes give you an extra day. So within that period of time, it must be submitted. So you want to stay on top of them. They're not difficult. They really aren't. They're very simplistic, but they have many operations in them. So in that case, being on time, interactive, if you have questions, just speak out. Otherwise, what I'd like you to do is make sure that your microphone is muted. And when you actually leave something in the chat, sometimes I don't see it right away. It could be minutes because once I start teaching, I tend to forget I even have a chat. So just keep that in mind. If we add all these up, that comes up to a total of 100. Now, keyboarding is one of those things where academic services for our newest students and some of the other students who haven't received anything yet, we do seem to be having an issue with keyboarding. When that number comes, I want you to contact me and I will try to set it up for you. If you set it up, there's a very strong possibility you'll make an error and it may be a week before we can solve that problem. So it's easier for me to do it. Just let me know that you have received that email. Send me a copy of it just in case I haven't received a copy, and I will set it up for you. It's a special email specifically for keyboarding. It has nothing to do with the rest of this. But keyboarding, by the way, we created this program for only one fundamental reason. Many employers were asking us why the students couldn't seem to use the keyboard efficiently. And really, during this period of time, this is actually a time when you should be practicing every skill you can. And keyboarding is one of those things that most employers expect you to be really competent with, being able to type relatively quickly and error-free. And so that we actually applied this particular program as an addition to help you. And it's a step-by-step process. It is done by yourself, and you can actually go through the entire program. But once again, we'll wait until you actually get a code for that, and then I'll talk to you about it. So the passing mark for this particular course is 60%. You need 60% to pass this particular course. It is extremely rare, extremely rare, and I'm really emphasizing that, for someone to fail this course. You either don't put in your, let's say, your projects, you just decide, I'm not, going to bother, I'm going to sleep for another hour or what have you, or you don't show up for class for several days in a row. By the way, I think in your orientation, they tell you how many days you can actually miss. You cannot miss 50% of a course, period. If you do, then it's an automatic removal from the course. 60% is such an easy score to get. It really is. You just put things in on time and you just keep working at it and you'll do that. The average for this course is in the high 80s, 90s, and many students actually do ace it with 100%. It's such an easy course to do, but don't worry too much about how well you do. Just focus your attention on doing well. Look at this. Oh my, there you go. So in that document as well are both weeks, the schedule. And this is the important thing. I'm going to turn my picture off so I'm not interfering with what you're seeing on the screen. There we go. So what you can see here is there are 5 days in a week. I hope you know that. Yes, there are 7, but only 5 you need to work. So day 1 and day 2. Now, the interesting thing about the training is it's done on a bi-daily basis. So the first day is normally the training. The second day is finishing off the project. And the third day is usually a quiz, and we start into a new training as well. So the quiz on the third day is always associated with the first 2. So day number 1, we're going to take a look today at getting started with Excel. And this is a very interesting area. We've got a lot to take a look at today. And then, of course, you'll also have that project available to you in Cengage, and you can begin working on it today and tomorrow. By the time tomorrow comes and you've gone over your training a few times and you really feel comfortable with what you've learned, it's really important that the foundation knowledge be there. So you really do want to spend that extra little bit of effort to make sure you really understand it, because believe it or not, as I said, it's a computer that will measure your performance, and it's very, very ruthless. Miss just one little thing, such as a dot or a space, then it really says everything. Excuse me. From there on is actually wrong. So you want to make sure that you are very meticulous, step by step. And you'll notice here at the bottom, it says the assignment is that project. Always do the training first and then do the assignment, such as the project. Day number 3, we start into a new training, but there's also the quiz for the first 2 days. So as I said, it's bi-daily. So every 2 days, there's a new topic that we're going to go into. So when it comes to Wednesday, we start into formatting the workbook, the text, and the data. There's a tremendous amount we can do in this area as well. This training, I will be taking you a step further in. So you're going to learn a little bit more than the training in Cengage will give you. And I will always do video as well to make sure that you are fully aware of what we've accomplished and what we've covered. And I'm always available until 12 o'clock every day to answer questions. Just one thing, I'll just mention it right now and then I'll go on. When it comes to sending requests for help, remember one thing, I'm available until 12 noon and then I jump into meetings and then I go into another class again. So I'm teaching another class in the afternoon. So sometimes when you send me an email or you send me a chat in Teams, it may be an hour or 2 hours later before I can even get to it, simply because I'm teaching in the afternoon. And this is basically the afternoon. During the morning, it usually doesn't take very long, but I may be dealing with another student, which means I can't jump out of it. I'm trying to help them figure it out. And then I'll get to you and I'll contact you and let you know that I'm ready. So for Wednesday and Thursday, again, it's the same idea. You've got training, a project, and then of course on Friday, you've got the quiz for that section. And then of course, we started to something new here for training as well, performance calculations, formulas and functions. This is the power behind it. This is the analysis part of it. And you really do have to get or build up to that point before we start. And then the second week is on Monday, you're finishing off what you did on Friday. And then on Tuesday, you start into the quiz for Friday and Monday. And then, of course, new training, charting and analysis. Now we go very deep into this, a little bit deeper still. One thing I want you to remember is this course literally could be an entire year. That's how much Excel really is. It's a huge program, but we're really only looking at some of the most common features. So charting and analysis, we're going to explore. We'll be having some training here again. Again, there's another project. And then on Thursday, we do a training session by going over a review. We're going to kind of review the ideas and the concepts that are most likely going to be tested on Friday. So the final test, we're going to do the review on Thursday. And this means it'll be a little bit longer than normal. We'll probably spend several extra hours going through this. And then, of course, the Friday exam, where you get an opportunity to really show that you've practiced and you're now ready to do an exam. So hopefully that actually makes sense. You have a copy of this, and anything you're not too sure of, just double check. But refer to it every so often. I know some of you are a little lazy, you don't want to read, but it's a good idea. Reading is fun. Well, maybe not. It depends on your point of view. So that's the file that I wanted you to look at. The other thing that we're going to do is take a look at Excel. But before I do that, I'd like to just double check and see if Leilani has joined us somewhere here. Let me just double check.
Yes, Michael. Good morning. I'm here.
There you go. So Leilani has joined us. And Leilani, do you want to talk to them for a moment or two?
Yeah, sure. I just want to make sure everybody received their login for Excel. That is email from Trias Materials.
No, I didn't get it.
Yes. Can I have your name?
Loveleen Sandhu.
Yeah,
Loveleen. Loveleen, is this a retake for you?
Pardon?
Retake? Are you retaking this course or?
No. Because I did the Word and now is in Excel.
Have you taken the Microsoft Office before?
Yes, Microsoft Word. Yeah, I
have. It means you have your login information when you took the Microsoft Office Word.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in for 1 second. For all the students who did Word, don't worry about it. In a little while, when I'm ready, I will give you the code and you'll have that. But it's for the newer students who are just joining us today for the first.
Yes.
Okay.
So Yeah, I would like to check the following students if they have received their code. So first is Diamilis, Tajinder, Shaksi, Kadian. So far, 4 students have joined your class, Michael. I just want to make sure they have received their code.
Yeah, I'm just looking for them now. Uh, so one is Shakshi.
Shaksi, yeah, I think Shaksi just joined the teams, the
Okay.
meeting. Yeah, I
Okay.
saw her join.
Well, I have here as not responding, but I'll take a look. Diameli.
Diamilis, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Has not joined yet.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Okay. So my apologies. I'm looking at a list here, and it's
I'm here. Honey, this is Joyta here.
oh, Shakshi is here too. Yes,
Yeah.
she's as a guest.
Yeah. Lailani, this is Joyta here.
Joyta, yes.
Yeah, I didn't receive any code. I think Michael will send it, or shall I wait?
No, it's coming from. Is this your first day, Joyta?
No, this is, I finished my Microsoft, and now this is my Excel first day. Yeah.
Yes. You have finished Word.
Yeah, done.
Yeah. So it means you're still using the same code from your Microsoft Word.
Fine. So we'll continue like this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Correct.
you so much.
All right.
Fantastic.
Anything else? Yeah. So far, so far everybody got received their code.
Yeah, not a
Yeah.
problem. I'll
All
double
right.
check it a little bit later as well.
Perfect.
For all,
Thank you very much.
okay. Thanks, Lindsay.
No problem. Have a good day, everyone. Bye bye.
For the rest of you, I will be sending out a code specifically for Excel. Just keep in mind when you log into Cengage, that code that I provide you in about an hour, okay, that code, you'll just type that in and it says additional courses. You type that in and it will give you access to Excel. So it's only the newer students who are starting today that needed to listen to Lalani. And of course, you'll get a special, excuse me, a special email from Academic Services if you are a brand spanking new student. In other words, starting just today. For the rest of you, don't worry about it. I will give you that code a little bit later. But to start with, I'd like to jump into Excel. So I'm just going to pull this aside for a moment. Excuse me. Let me just do that attendance again. The other thing excuse me, I need some water. The last thing I wanted to touch upon very quickly before I jump into Excel is that the email that I sent you, which is an invitation to Teams, use that link, because that link, when you click on that link that's within that text, it will actually jump you directly in as a member of the meeting. The reason I had a little difficulty there and I was kind of looking down the list is because at the end of it, there were a couple of students who had not joined that way. They joined as a guest, and I can see one here as a guest, which actually means you don't have full functionality of Teams unless you join as a regular member. In that case, you'll actually have complete access to everything inside of Teams. So just keep that in mind going forward. Just going to pull this out of the way. Super duper. And open up this exciting, look at that, isn't that amazing? This is Excel. Now, just keep in mind that when you open up Excel on your screen, and for those of you who don't have Excel, you definitely want to make sure that you are using the online Excel. The document I gave you, which is the student sample document, I'm going to be replacing that because last night I actually added a little extra to it just to make sure that you had some more tools that were available. And I'll be adding another one tomorrow as well. So just keep your eyes open to your email because I will be sharing that with you as we go along. The first thing I want to mention about Excel is it looks weird. Look at it. It's got 3 little tabs here at the bottom. Each one of these is a sheet. And each sheet is totally independent of the one beside it, and yet we can link them together. And these are just like a sheet of paper that you're actually putting information on. The only difference is it's highly interactive, which means I can do all kinds of calculations and formulas and all kinds of little things in between. In fact, I can even print it like it was Word, or I could share information with the other programs in Microsoft. And I just want to re-mention this for the newer students. All of the Microsoft products are interactive and they're all integratable, which means that you can take elements from one and put it into another one, and you can work on both. Make a change in one, the other one will change as well. So they can all be linked together. And this is a beautiful feature about Microsoft. So here you see all these little rectangles. Just going to jump to a blank document for a moment. This particular sheet has columns called alphabetical or alphabetical columns, A, B, C, D, E, F. Hopefully you know your alphabet, but it goes all the way up to Z, and then it starts over. So I'm just going to jump up here. Look at that. It went all the way up to Z, okay, and then it starts over. AA, AB, AC, AD. And the same is true for numbers. It can go all the way up to 65,000. There are 65,000 cells on one sheet, and each one of these cells is completely and totally separate. So this means that, yes, they can interact with one another, but they're considerably separate from one another. So anything that happens in one does not affect the other. That's one of the beautiful things about Excel, but you'll see that as we go along. Now, the other thing too is up here, we have the name box, and this tells me where I am. I'm in R number 1, and that's exactly what comes up. If I clicked on S2, then you'll see it says S2, which is nice because here's another nice little feature. What if I decided I wanted this whole section? Well, I could name it. I could actually give this whole section a name and then just simply click on it and add it. And I would jump to it and I would be selecting that particular area. Now, when we get to formulas, you're going to find this is a beautiful tool, absolutely gorgeous. The other thing here is we have a formula bar. Now, these are inserting different formulas. And of course, whatever is typed into a cell, let me just type something in here. Hello, fantastic. You'll notice that it not only appears in this formula bar, but it also appears here in the cell itself. And if I click on a different cell, the different cell is totally different from this one. And therefore, there's nothing in there right now. So I'm just going to delete that. Fantastic. So 65,000 cells in this particular document. And there are some unique features. Every one of the rows is a number. Every one of the columns is a letter. And when we identify a particular cell, we identify it by its column and its row number. So that's why you see A1 here on the left-hand side. And when I click on, let's say, D7, you'll see D7 appears here. And I would identify this cell as D and 7. So always the column first and then the row. So there's 65,000 cells in a sheet, and the sheets are always at the bottom. Now I have several sheets here, and I'm going to share this in a moment with you as well. So there are several sheets. This is the sheet number 1 that I actually gave you already. So you already have this one available to you. And this is something that you're going to be using as we go along. The other thing that I want you to notice is that the nice feature here is Microsoft has provided you with a ribbon. The ribbon is all the tools at the top here, and each tab is a little different. So the Home tab actually is for the content within a cell. And then the insert is inserting other elements, and there are many different elements here. We're going to be taking a look at quite a few of these as we go along. And there are many different things that we could actually put into an actual cell. The layout the way we would like it to actually appear. And yes, there are themes here, so we can always choose different themes. In other words, this is just the colors and the way objects are represented within these cells themselves. Of course, there is margins because we can print this document, the orientation, the size. This is a new feature that you may or may not be aware of. For those of you with this particular Excel and using it quite frequently, there's always this possibility of printing just a specific area. I'll explain this a little bit more when we get to that area. Printing the titles, the beautiful thing about this product is you can even print the ABC 1, 2, 3. You can print all of that information, or you can print without it. So you do have the ability to print depending on how you want it to be. There's a lot of different features there, including, do I want to turn on things so I can see them? Maybe I don't want the grid lines. Well, that's all these little lines that show you where the cells are. So if I turn that off, of course, it turns it off. And if I can't see it and I need it, then I can just simply click on this. But I can still click on individual cells. It's just a question of sometimes it's easier if you can see them. So we can turn that back on again. And of course, this also means maybe I don't want the ABC 1, 2, 3, so I can turn that off as well. That might just simply be I want more space to work with. Or I can turn it back on if I need it. And we can also, on the very far left-hand side, before I get to formulas, I just want to draw your attention to the 4 icons at the top. The 4th icon across is the one that is important to you. For this particular course, I would like you to leave it on. And if I click on it, you'll see it says show the tabs and the commands. In other words, show the entire ribbon. But if I decide that it's taking too much space on my screen, I can click on only show the tabs at the top. There you go. So now I only see the tabs at the top. Now the good news is if I need something from that, I just click on that tab. The bad part is it covers up some of this while I'm working with the ribbon. And then when I click away from it, obviously it goes back to just the tabs. The last one is this one, which means I get rid of all of that stuff at the top. And it's still there. I can always come back in here with the more tag on the left-hand side, or I can use this tag here to display the ribbon, and I'll click on the ribbon again. So now the ribbon is back. So just keep that one in mind. Sometimes you may actually, by accident, turn it off, and you can turn it back on again. The next tab across is formulas. Remember, I don't expect you to remember all of this right away for some of you, but as we go along, you'll become more acquainted with it because you're going to play a little bit as well. The amount of actual, let's say, formulas that are available depends entirely on the company you're working with. But you'll find that there are many, many formulas. In fact, it's very close to about 400, and yet it can be expanded almost in perpetuity forever. And of course, there are different ways of dealing with all kinds of wild things here. We're going to explore those. And of course, different types of things we can do with text, dates, logic, for those of you who like logic. And we will be exploring quite a few of these as well. Financial. We will explore several different ones, but there are hundreds. And this is just a small sample of some of the formulas that are available here. And once again, don't become confused or inundated at this point. We're going to take it one step at a time. And of course, those that were used recently, Microsoft decided that there's certain kinds of links and certain kinds of functions you'll use very frequently. And therefore, it's kind of giving you a list of the ones that you use more frequently than others. The next one exists in several locations, and we're going to be taking a look at this every so often. You'll notice this one. It's called the auto sum. It shows the epsilon figure, but when we click on the down arrow here, There are several formulas that are readily available, and they're used very frequently. Now, we're not actually going to use this ourselves. We're going to actually type them in to begin with, so you get a feel for them. However, this is the down and dirty way of doing it. You click on it, automatically calculates for you. And of course, anytime we use these commands, there are very specific ways of typing them in, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. The other function here is very similar to what we have on this formula bar, or address bar, we could call it even. And that happens to be this insert a function. Now it exists here, and it also exists here on the formula bar. And we could click on either one of them, and it simply opens up formulas that can be used. And if we're not too sure, we can actually choose from a variety of different variations of formulas. So there really is, when it comes to being able to add, subtract, take text and break it apart, there are hundreds of ways of doing the same thing for different reasons. But we're only going to explore a few of the simpler ones. So formulas, and then data, because sometimes you want to sort that information. And we have this one as well. Now we'll come back to the naming and all the rest of this later on. But data here, yep, I got it. In data, we actually have a lot of tools as well, but the ones we'll spend a little bit of time with is actually the well, maybe not. We'll come back to that later. The sorting and also filtering. These are areas we definitely will use rather frequently. And we'll explore those a little bit later, but for the time being, it's nice to know that you can sort all of this information any way you want it to be. In the review tab, yes, I got it. This is a new feature. In the review tab, you know, if your spelling isn't great, it'll help you. Just make sure of one thing, that you do have a Canadian dictionary in Excel. If you installed this on your computer with American English, then you're going to get the American dictionary. And if you have the American dictionary, the words that are sometimes spelled very differently in Canada have to be adjusted by you, because it'll come up with it's correct when in reality it would not be correct. So you can download for free on the internet a Canadian dictionary for Microsoft Office. And when you download it, just double click on it. It will automatically install the dictionary, and it will become your default dictionary, which simply means that you will, from that point forward, be able to use that dictionary, okay, instead of the American one, which is always to your advantage, believe me. So if we can do that, we can also find alternative words. We can even do some statistical analysis of the workbook. And this, by the way, all of the sheets here are called a workbook together. So this is one workbook, but each one of these tabs at the bottom is a different sheet. So I can jump between them by simply clicking on them, and that will jump between them. And this little plus symbol beside those tabs allows me to add new sheets. So anytime I press on it, it will automatically create a new sheet. And I can have as many sheets as I want. So here again, with review, we have the ability to put in all kinds of comments. We can show those comments. We can even protect the document from people playing with it. Especially if you have young kids, you might want to think about this one a little bit. They sometimes like to change things and see how much anger actually is created. Like, why? And we can also click on view as well. So view, again, we can determine what we want to see. Yes, I can turn that off again here, as we did with page layout. And formula bar, yeah, it's kind of taking up too much space, so I don't need it. I can turn that off, turn it back on. And the headings, yeah, I can get rid of the A's and the 1s. There you go. We can turn that off or turn it back on again. And there are different layouts here as well. So the normal layout is what we normally use to enter information. However, we may want to see how many pages of information there are. So if I click on Page Break Preview, and let's just say I had a large amount of data here, it just kept stretching over to the the right-hand side, or it went down the page maybe to line 300 or 400. Well, that's probably on another page. So if I click on Page Break Preview, I can actually see those pages the way they would appear. Now here it says there's really only enough content for one page. And right across it, screened in the background, it says page number 1. If we had more data running across the page, of course, we would have more pages. And if we had more going down, we'd have more pages here. And it would show us the break in between each page. And that would be a dashed line that would actually show us the difference. But we'd also have this page and the number associated with it. So this is a nice tool for being able to see how many pages do I actually have if I wanted to print this. Now, we don't always print these documents. Page layout, well, if I really want to print it, I may have to have a header and a footer, and they are totally different from Word. So what you remember about Word, forget it, it doesn't work here. So in this case here, it's now showing me different pages. The header is actually 3 separate cells, and each one of them is independent, but they overlap. So this is the fascinating thing about Excel, is that every cell overlaps another cell in one way or another. And I'm going to prove that to you in about 10 minutes. But for the time being, right now, the cell, I have cell number 1, cell number 2, cell number 3. And these are my header. All 3 of them, one header. And of course, we also have a footer as well. So I'm just going to jump to the footer, and there's my footer for that page. Again, 3 independent cells. Fantastic. So that just gives you an idea. It's not a single cell, it's actually 3 independent cells. Jump back to the header again. It's a really nice tool because as I click on things, it automatically opens up the ribbon that I need. And you'll always notice here that when you have an object, it'll always give you an extra tab at the top. And when you click on that, you'll get a different ribbon. The ribbon will be associated with that particular object, or in this case here, just part of the document. There's no extras. And you may or may not have all of these active at this point. We are going to be adding to this much later, and it's a very simple thing to do. So once again, we go back to view, and there's also custom view. So I can click on it and I can actually create my own views. Now, we're not going to do that right away. This is something that gets a little bit more advanced. So we're just going to close that for the moment, and I'm going to go back to normal. Fantastic. Now, there's one other area here that I'd like to touch upon. There's actually 2, and we'll take a look at both. But I want to touch upon this area, zooming. Now, for some of you, you may have pretty small screens and you want to zoom it up a little bit. And every so often, as I'm doing a formula, I'll zoom it way up so that you can see it more clearly. So if I click on zoom, I can choose 200%. So in other words, I can double the size of it. There you go. Now it's even larger still. Or I can zoom it down to fit the screen itself. Oops. There you go. Or I can choose something else, like 100% fit the selection. Okay, I selected an area. So you can select any part of this you want to, and you can even type in a value. We also have 100%, which shows me exactly what it would normally look like. And of course, zoom to a selection. So if I were to choose this section and I wanted to zoom to that selection, it would zoom to that selection. Anything you select, you can modify or change instantly. Now, just to make it a little bit more useful, down here on the right-hand side at the very bottom are once again those views, and these are just icons this time. So I can click on this view, the page view, page break, And of course, I can click on this view here, page break view. And I can also click on the ruler, the zoom. So I can actually zoom it up. Wow, can you see me now? Or I can zoom down again. Obviously, you can see that, right? And of course, you can pick any size you want. Sometimes it's better, for me, I'll use this once in a while. Sometimes it's better to just click on what you want. If I want to select an area and show you that area, I can zoom right up to it. The next part of this, by the way, is actually fascinating. Now, I'm just going to click to a screen that you don't have right now. You will have shortly. I'm going to share it with you. The flash fill, which we'll talk about later, but this screen actually goes a little deeper. So I can actually come in here and decide I'd like to freeze part of it. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to click on this particular cell and it will freeze everything. Well, actually, let's click on this one. It'll freeze everything on top of that cell and everything down the left-hand side of it. And this is really nice because then I can keep certain information readily available to me. So I'll freeze this. And now I can scroll, and you'll notice that line doesn't change at the top. So I can really scroll this a little bit. Let me just scroll a little bit further. There you go. You can get an idea that you can freeze certain sections of it. Now, the other thing I said was because it's going to freeze this left side as well, that means that if I scroll this, that left column remains exactly frozen in place. So we can freeze it when we find that it's necessary to do that. We want to keep it on the screen. So I'm going to unfreeze it. The other thing we can do here as well is split. Now, don't try to be upset if you can't remember all of this. We're going to be doing this over the next 2 weeks, a little bit at a time. I'm just kind of showing you some of the better features of the product. I can split this as well. The beauty here is, and you'll see this big dark line here, I can move this anywhere I want. Maybe I want to put it right there. And now I've split it into 4 parts. So this means I have 4 scroll bars. And if I wanted to copy and paste, or I wanted to check 2 areas of the document at the same time, I could do that with ease. Okay, I can actually move all of these different elements around. So splitting the screen, and I can move that around if I want to put it somewhere else entirely. I'm just going to click it and turn it off again. Fantastic. Now there's also help. If you ever run into a problem, you can use the help screen and therefore type in something that you're having difficulty with, and it will try to give you solutions. So let's just say I wanted to click on help here. And it's going to open up here on the side, and I say I want to add. There you go. So add, and I could say number. Okay, so I can add a number together. If I click on it, it will give me a possibility. I can use the auto sum, which we just talked about, adding things together, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. So you could type something in and, of course, get more information about it. And there are many different possibilities for help. Fantastic. So let me go back to basic. Good show. Now, there is one thing here I wanted to show you. It just changed on me. So there we go. One thing to keep in mind for those students who have never used this product before, and that is whenever you see the pound sign side by side by side, what it means is there is insufficient space to show the content. Remember I said every one of these little cells, these little rectangles, are independent of every other one. So if you don't have enough space, it won't show you what's inside of it. So if I want, I can widen it by grabbing the column, the edge of the column, and I can pull it sideways with the mouse. And now you can see the content. And if I pull it back again, you can't see the content. But here's another way of doing it as well. If I put my line over the line between the 2 columns, And again, I get that double-headed arrow. I can double click with the left button of the mouse and it will automatically widen. Now, there's another way of doing this. If this happens to be the situation, once again, there's not enough space to show that date. When I put my mouse over it, I can see what's in there. If I click on it, I can see in the formula bar what's inside that cell. But let's just say that I'd like it to be a little wider. What I can do is come up to the ribbon, the Home tab. Remember, the Home tab deals with the cell. So if I come up here, I can use the Format, which is on the right-hand side. And by clicking on it, I can see that I can change the height of the row. In other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, I can make them bigger. Or I can automatically fit them so that whatever I put in will automatically change the size. That's an auto function. And the same is true here, and we'll come back to these. Or I can just simply click on automatic column width, which will automatically change the columns in that sheet. Fantastic. Well, it would do it if I clicked on it. Let's come back here. There you go. So it automatically clicked on. Now I had an empty cell and nothing happened. But when I selected the cell that I was having an issue with, it automatically changes it. Now, the beautiful thing is it's actually changed the entire column. And we can do that by simply doing the same thing, changing the auto width so that when I type something in here, let me type something highly intelligent. Oh, look at that. That's intelligent. And I press tab to accept what I typed in. And it won't do what I told it to do. Okay, let me go back in here. Auto fit. There you go. So it should auto fit, and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So let's just get rid of that. Now, here's something else for you. You'll see a dotted line here. That dotted line tells me that's the end of the page. Okay, so if I printed this, that would be the end of page number 1 on the left, the right-hand side. And then, of course, H would be the next page. So anything beyond that point would actually be on the next page. That's what that dotted line represents, by the way. So let's take a look at a couple of things that we can do here. All of the information you can type in. You can type in dates, you can type in anything you want to. I'm just going to jump back for 1 second to a blank. And I'll choose A1. Now, whenever I click on a cell or I select a group of cells, the one thing I want you to remember is it will always isolate it with a line around it. So you can see a big rectangle here because I've chosen all these cells. The first cell will always be clear. The rest of the cells will be darker. They'll all have a gray tone to them, which means they're selected. All of these are selected. At the bottom of it, this rectangle, you'll actually see a little tiny box, this little square. And when I put my mouse over it, it changes to a small plus symbol. Now, that means that this is a fill handle. It actually allows me to copy. It allows me to do a variety of different tasks, and we're going to explore that a little bit later, but I just want you to see the difference, that this selection actually will always have that little plus symbol if you put your mouse over it, and it'll always have a little box on the right-hand lower section of the selection. So if I select just one cell, it'll also have that little square as well. So right back here again. Now there's two conditions, and this is important. So I'm going to type something in here. I'm going to type in my name. There you go. Well, even better if I turn off cap lock. There we go. Of course, there are other ways of dealing with that too. And let me just zoom up a little bit here. So just going to zoom up on that selection. Oh, can you see me now? So here I have my name in this particular cell, and there's something that you need to really take a close look at. because it's an interesting idea. The way this is designed is that every cell overlaps the other. So A is at the bottom, B is one level above, C is 2 levels above, number 2 is one level above number 1. So if I were to type in, and I'm just going to add to this, you'll notice that something has happened here. My name looks like it's all the way across into B as well, but that's not true. It's just that all the other cells are transparent. So it kind of looks like B is actually, not even there. I can see through it. But the moment I try to type something in there, you notice how it's covered up that section. Now it's not transparent anymore. Now it has content in it. So if I delete, again, it looks like it's transparent. This tells me that every cell is actually layered on top of the other cells. But there's a way of adjusting this. We can either adjust the width of it. So I can double click here, and that simply widens that particular column. Or what I could do is I can merge the two together as well. So I might actually click on A, and you notice it's still, there's my binding box. So that's telling me that it's only in that one cell. But if I click on it, hold the left button of the mouse and drag it sideways, I can now merge the two together. And on the Home tab, there is a merge function for alignment. And I can choose to merge across, which means it'll merge both cells together. Now it's one cell. And you notice that because the box is actually around both of those cells. But if I click below it, it's still an independent cell. But if I click above, there's no longer a B1. There's now an A1 that occupies all of the space. And I can see that up here in the left-hand corner. So I'm just going to break that merge. So unmerge. And now it's back to, once again, independent cells. So this is actually important to us because it kind of tells us that we can manipulate these a little bit. Now, we'll explore that a little bit later as well. So just kind of giving you an insight into this. The other thing that's really important here, and I'm just going to remove my last name for a moment. It's a little bit too much there. I want you to notice two things. The first is the cell, if I click in it, puts an insertion point. And you also notice on the ribbon, a lot of the different options are now grayed out, which means they cannot be used. But if I were to just click on the cell, they're all there, which means that there are two levels to the cell. In reality, it's a layered process. There are many layers, but there are two levels. The first level, which we are right now, the only way I can type more information is to come up here to the formula bar. And the moment I do, I can then type in more information. So I can come back in and type in my name again, and once again, it's there. So that's all back again. However, you'll notice that I can't really type in below that inside the cell at this point. I can only type in because I'm on the address bar. So let's just go back. And I'm just going to remove that name again. Of course, we could do it another way. There we go. So when I click on the cell, I can change its characteristics. I can change the color of the font that's inside of it. If I select it, then I can change it. There you go. And if I put my mouse over without clicking on these swatches of different colors, I can see that, of course, it will change according to whatever color I think might be appropriate. So I'll use purple. Click on purple, and now it's a purple. And of course, I can change the color. Now, I said that every cell, all 65,000, are actually independent. And if I choose a different color, you'll notice only that cell is actually reacting to these color swatches. put yellow in the background. Fantastic. So now I have a cell. B doesn't say the same thing, but A has not only text in it, but it also has a color. Now, I really want you to listen carefully because, as I said, there are two levels. The first level of this cell, and let me zoom up just a little bit more. There we go. If I right click on the mouse on this cell, I'll notice I have a lot of options available to me. Right clicking on a mouse provides you with options. Left clicking is an initiator. It will automatically cause it to do something. So in this case here, I have lots and lots of options available to me. And the one I'm interested in is formatting the cell. So I'm going to click on that. And I want you to look at this dialog box that just came up. Look at all of the goodies here. I have number, alignment, I have font, I have borders, I have fill. I can even protect the cell. So I can lock it, I can hide it. Lots of different things that I can actually do with the cell itself. And it's just that cell. That's the only cell I've selected. Remember, it's selected, and that little box is down here in the corner. In other words, a little square. So in this case, this dialog box is showing me I'm at the first level, and this is affecting the entire cell, the whole cell. But, and this is why I say there are two levels. If I then double click on this cell, oops, come on, there we go, and put an insertion point, you see that line that's actually flashing right now? Now I can type something in here, as long as I have an insertion point. But if I right click while that insertion point is in there, I don't get all those options. In fact, I get very few options because the only thing that is available when there is an insertion point in here is what I typed in. The rest of the cell cannot be touched, and that's why all of these different icons are grayed out. They don't apply. Only the color of the font, only the font. That's it, nothing else applies. So if I right click and now go to format the cell, well, look at that. A lot of my tabs at the top have vanished and I only have font. So the only thing I can really change here is the font. So I'll change it to blue. Let's have blue. Okay, and I'll click OK. It shows me what it's going to look like. And I'll click OK. And nothing happened. But if I type something in, I now get blue. So here's the interesting thing. If I had wanted the rest of this to blue, I would have had to select it by clicking with the left button and dragging it sideways. It would automatically select what's inside that cell. The other approach, and I want you to remember this, by the way, using the keyboard only. If I hold down the Control key and then I click on the letter A, it selects everything within that cell. Control A is select all, okay? So it will select everything in that particular cell. Now we'll take a look at all of these keyboard shortcuts a little bit later. So the important thing here for a cell is that there are two conditions, but this creates a problem, and there's a reason for this. If I use delete, it works great, but the yellow color is still there, and I press delete. Shouldn't it get rid of that yellow color as well? Well, not necessarily. So let me just undo that. Up here at the very top, undo. There we go. So what if I want to get rid of the formatting? Well, I need to click on that cell again, make sure there's no insertion point. And you'll notice on the Home tab at the very far right-hand side, there's what looks like a little eraser. And if I click on that, it will help me clear the format in the background. Remember, it's a layered process. So every one of these little elements, like the color in the background, the font in the background, any formulas we put in, they're all going to have their own layer. And I may have to remove all of that information. So I'm going to clear the format. It'll get rid of the formatting. There you go. Now the yellow's gone. Isn't that easy? So once again, we can use that little eraser and we can clear the formatting, or we could clear everything. Takes it all away. So just going to undo. There we go. So we're right back again. So the important thing we get from that is, number one, it is layered. And that's important to us to recognize that when I press delete, it doesn't remove everything. It only removes one layer, and yet there may be other layers underneath, especially formulas, calculations, any kind of analysis tool that was used may actually still be active on another level. So here we have this beautiful name here. And what else can I do here? Well, let's right click on it. Once again, remember, no insertion point, and therefore I get lots of options. I'm going to come down to format. And here we go. So this is one of the other tools that really makes this a powerhouse. I've only selected one cell, but it could be a large number. And in this case here, I've decided I want to change the font. So I want to make it 14. So I click on 14, shows me what it would look like. And I think I'll change it to blue. So I'll make it blue. So now it shows me blue. And I can have an underline if I want. I'm not going to do that right now. I could bold it, so I'm going to bold it. So now it's bolded, and it shows me what it would look like. And then I can click OK, and it automatically will change that. And I'm just going to make it a little wider. There you go. And I'll go back to format again. The difficulty here is that it's going to constantly require you to go back any change you make. So you want to make all the changes necessary before you click on OK. Now, when I right click, something else happens here, and that is a little dialog box at the top that lets you change the font and also the size and the color and the background. Maybe the yellow wasn't such a good idea, so maybe we want to put orange in there instead, or maybe no fill at all, or gray. So we can choose what we want to put in here, the background. Neat. We'll take that one for the moment. So I can change this anytime I want to. Now, once again, right click, format. And remember, since we're not dealing with just the font, we're dealing with the whole cell, we get all of these options here. So we still get the font. We now have alignment. I love this tool. Let's just say that I would like to have it at 45 degrees. Now, sometimes you see this at 90 degrees when you go into the grocery store and they have people selling things. Telephone numbers are always 90 degrees. Well, we could do that here too. So let's do that. So 90 degree, it tells me what the degree. I could have typed it in here. I don't have to use that little bar. And of course, when I click OK, now it's 90 degrees. And don't worry, I can always undo that. And I can go back into cell format. So I can change a lot of different features here. Text wrapping, we'll talk a little bit about later. But this is simply allowing me to put lots of content in here so that it kind of scrolls within the actual column itself. And a number. So this one we need to know. And the reason we need to know this is because it diametrically changes and dynamically changes what the cell represents. By default, and this is actually very, very important, by default, this entire worksheet is general. And I can see that on the Home tab under Number, you'll see General. And I can use this down arrow to open up that same area again, and I can see everything is currently general. What general means is you can have a decimal place behind a number, but it will only show it if it's greater than 0. So if I said 123 decimal 00, it will not show me the 00. if I put decimal 1, it will show me that there's a decimal 1 as well. So general is very simplistic. Number, on the other hand, if I click on number, means it will allow me to choose how many decimal places I have beyond the decimal. And it will show me examples of negative numbers. So maybe I want it to be red, or maybe I want to have brackets around it. For some of you on your computers, you may see brackets as well. We can add those in. Or maybe I want to, if it's a number that is in the thousands, I want to have three numbers and then a comma before the fourth number. So again, we can use this as a separator, a delimiter. And of course, currency is a little different again, because currency allows me to put in a symbol in front of the number. And of course, it gives me examples here of negative numbers, but also how many decimal places. Now, in some environments, if you're in the financial district, you may use 6, 8, 12 digits beyond the decimal place. When you're dealing with billions or trillions of dollars, literally, then you definitely are using lots and lots of decimal places as well. And of course, that symbol, well, the good news is there are hundreds of symbols. As there are many different countries in the world and there are different symbols used in those different countries, then of course those symbols are available to you as well. We have the euro there, we have some of the other symbols that are available. And of course, different countries again have different symbology. But you get to choose which one you want. Right now we're using this symbol. Now, the other thing about accounting, and also for this, I'm just going to open this up. Here, I'm going to type in the number 123. Beside it, I'm going to type in 123. And I'm going to say that this is $123. So let's change it. I'll click here. Now, I can change that by clicking on this symbol, or I can choose from one of these, currency or accounting, or I could have used this little drop down. There are many ways of doing the same thing. There really are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this drop down, and I'm going to say currency. Well, there you go. There's the dollar symbol in front. And I could have selected a whole area. Whatever is selected can be changed immediately. So this whole section, excuse me, can be changed to currency. So if I type a value in here, and then I press tab to accept it, it automatically converts it into currency. But over here where I didn't do that, if I type in 45, I press tab, it's just a number. So when I change the formatting, and as I click on these cells, I can see what kind of formatting is actually in the background. So there's a big difference between currency and accounting. And the rationality here is that accounting actually has the dollar symbol on the far left-hand side of the cell, whereas currency, it's right beside the last number on the left-hand side. So if I used accounting here, and I could have used this here, this symbol, or the drop down here as well, or I can come in here and use accounting here. And you notice, no matter how wide this particular column gets, that dollar symbol will stay on the left-hand side. No matter how wide this one gets, it's always beside the number. So when we're dealing with currency, okay, it will always be beside the number. I'm just going to widen it a little bit. There we go. And when it's accounting, it'll always be on the left-hand side of the actual cell. So we can change how things are represented. This will make more sense when we start using some real detailed formulas, because we can change it to a date. If I type a number in, it will be a date. So let's do that as well. I'm just going to remove this. Let's press delete. And in B1, I'm going to type in the number 1. Now, for most of us, number 1 is number 1. And remember, it's currency, so I'm going to change it back to general. So I'm just going to reverse these back to general. So I'll just click on general. There you go. So number 1. However, what would happen if I chose date? A short date or a long date? Well, if I chose a long date, it says it needs more space, so I'll give it more space. Excel accepts numbers as dates whenever you convert it to a date. So a number can actually be added, subtracted, multiplied, divided. We can take exponents of it. We can do all kinds of mathematical operations with it. Well, dates can be the same because Excel sees them as a number. Number 1 is going to always within Excel be January the 1st, 1900. So that means that if I were to type in today's date, and I'm just going to do that right here. I'll type in today. Okay. So I want today's date. It will automatically show me today's date. There's today's date. That's a short date. So what if I wanted a long date? Well, I could come in here and I could change that to long date. And now it says it's August 31st, 2020. But I just said that a number inside of a cell could be converted into a date. And this would allow me to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Why is that valuable? What if I want to know how many days have elapsed since a previous date? Well, I can do that because Excel can read this as a number. And let me show you what the number would be for today. So I can come in here and I can take a look at number or general. I'll take a look at general. And it says that this is the 44,000th day since 1900, January the 1st. So this means that since it sees it as a Julian date, which is a number, then I should be able to add, subtract, and multiply. So if I come back here again, I can turn it back into my long date. And what if I wanted to subtract it? You know, this is such a beautiful tool. I'm going to come over here to A2. And one thing I want you to write down or remember is that anytime you enter an equal sign without a quotation around it, it automatically tells Excel that you want to perform an action. And therefore, I'm going to put in an equal. And I'm going to click on, because I'm kind of lazy, I'm going to click on my date today. And I'm going to, let's say, subtract. And I want to subtract this date. So this will tell me how many days there are by clicking on it. And you notice something really nice about this product? When I clicked on these cells, instead of simply typing in C1 minus B1, then it automatically changed the color of them as well. So I can see where that information came from. If I highlight this, I can see the red side. If I highlight this one, I can see it's the blue side. So literally, I can tell the difference between the two. Now, I can either press Tab or I can press Enter to accept that value. And it will tell me exactly how many days have elapsed. And if I just change this back into a number, it says it's 74, and this says minus that number 1, change that back into a number, minus 1, it says there are that many days, so it's now 73 instead of 74. And the beauty here is, if I wanted to, I could turn this into a date as well. There you go. So this is actually 1 day less. Let's just go back here to the long date. So today's the 31st, 1 day minus, in other words, subtracting this particular date, it automatically converts it into a new date. So we could actually have just said the number of days that have elapsed in between. So let me change this date. I'm just going to change that to a long date. Fantastic. And we're going to change this January the 1st, and we're going to make it 2020. So let me just change the 1900 to 2020. And this will give us an indication as to how many days have elapsed since January the 1st, 2020, and today is August the 31st, 2020, and 243 days have actually elapsed in between. So this is really a nice tool. This means I can play a little bit and I can decide how to use dates and times and stuff like that. And yes, it will show you the time as well. Percentages, fractions, text, scientific notification or notations, I should say, in the short date. Well, let's change that to a short date. This is a short date. So it gives me the year, the month, and the day. And yet at the same time, we could have had the long date, which is a little different. However, you know, one of the nice features here, excuse me, is that if I go to format the cell, and let's just come back in here, I can see the short date and it says date here, but it gives me different ways of presenting a date. So this means I could actually have chosen a different country entirely in the way they show dates, or I can use a different formula for the way a date is represented here. So I'll click OK, and all of a sudden it changes it again. So you have some real capabilities, excuse me, when it comes to changing these dates around. Now I'm just going to select everything and I'm going to remove what I have here. If I click on this little triangle, it selects the entire sheet. So this whole sheet has been selected. I'm going to press delete, and guess what? That orange is still there. And you and I know how to get rid of it. We just simply come up here to the Home tab where it says Editing, and I'm going to clear all of it. And now it removes that part as well. Super duper. So here's another really nice feature of this product. With A and 1, I'm going to type in MON. Now, that's Monday. I could have typed in the whole name. And then when I do that, that little tiny square at the bottom, that fill handle or copy handle, and there are many ways of looking at it, by the way, I can actually have dragged that down. And you notice the little tool tip beside my mouse? It says it's now Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday. If I release the mouse, that's exactly what it types in. And by the way, I could have done that sideways. So if it recognizes what I'm trying to type in, so maybe I'll put a 1 in here instead. And I'd like it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just going to pull this sideways. There we go. Whoops, look at that. Something's not quite right. And yet it is. So here I have all of these. Right now, I'm just going to drag this one more. There you go. There's a little tiny icon that appears at the end here. And this is the autofill. Whenever I want to use, let's say, a range or a sequence of numbers, or let's say the date, the January, February, or I want to put in Monday, Tuesday, etc., it will do this automatically by simply coming down here and saying, I want to fill it as a series. I don't actually want to fill it as, let's say, just a number. So I'm just going to come back in here. Fantastic. And I'm simply going to change this again. Whoops, I have to do that one more time, sorry. Okay, so here we are. And I'm just going to drag it sideways. There we go. And I'd like it to be 1, 2, 3 instead. So I'm going to choose series. And now it changes it to 1, 2, 3. And if I wanted to go down and I said, wait a minute now, I'd like it to go down by 4. I'm going to type 1, then 4. Then I'll click on these two. I'll select both of them. And now I'll drag that down. And if it's correct, it will jump by 4. So by simply choosing to and then having it do a series, it automatically has included all of this as well. Fantastic. Just going to delete that. And I'm going to jump back to the beginning. So here we are. So let's just take a look at some formulas for a moment. Here I have something of a basic spreadsheet. This is just information in different cells. And these, of course, we can see that they're all individual cells, each and every one of them. Okay, so week 24, and yet we want to do some calculations. Now here we already have one. Anytime we use that equal sign, it's automatically going to accept it as if it's a formula. It's going to say, I want you to do something. So I'm going to put in here equal, and I can either type it in other words, let's just say that I wanted to take the regular pay and the overtime to get my gross. What I could do is simply type in 350, and I could then add the 0 to it. So add 0, and I can simply press enter. And of course, it tells me what the total is. However, there's one beautiful feature here. If I simply did that and I copy this down, it's 350 for all of them. But one of the beautiful features of this product is its ability to copy. So if I actually put an equal sign and I click on the cell reference, which is in this case here, E, okay, and it happens to be for the row number 6, so E6. So if I actually put E6 in here, oops, hold on. If I put in E6 and I click on it, and then I put in plus, and then I click on F6, and then I press enter, it automatically calculates it. But the nice thing is, when I click on it, it shows me the 2 cells. But it also tells me that it's using a reference. It's not using an actual number. So references, if I were to pull that little fill handle down, and there is a second way of doing it too, I'll show you that too. If I were to pull that down, it would automatically increment the row number. If I pulled it sideways, it would automatically increment the column. So in this case, I'm simply going to drag it down. And watch, this time it won't be 350. It will calculate the values right beside it. Because, and if I double click on this, we'll see what I mean by that. Let's just use this one, because there's 2 numbers. You notice it's not 6 anymore, now it's 7, and it's row number 7. So it's actually incremented the number. I can actually make one formula and copy it all the way down the page. Now there is a better way of doing this. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to remove this. Fantastic. And once again, I'm going to click on it because my formula is there. So if I then take that little tiny square and I double click it with the mouse, the left button, it fills the entire row, the entire column up to where the number stops. So up to the 5780, that's where it stops because there's no other numbers beside it, so it doesn't bother to continue. So there were several ways of actually doing this. Now, of course, again, when we actually have a formula in here, we could have used this particular function. So this function here, and up on the home tab, we actually have this item, which is fill, and we could have used fill as well. So we could fill up, down, right, left, a series. If we wanted to fill the entire series, we can do a lot of different tools from here as well. And remember, here's that epsilon, so we could have actually done it from here as well. And to do that, by the way, let's just do that, by the way. I'm just going to delete this again. I could have done the following. I could have used a formula, and this formula is called sum. So I could have used the sum formula. Sum actually stands for adding numbers together, and it can be done in many different ways. We'll be talking about this a little bit later on tomorrow as well. So sum, if I put a bracket, anything that's inside that bracket, I can add numbers together. By simply putting a comma between them, I can add numbers together. But I can also do something else. Let's just say I wanted the sum of all of these numbers. I can drag my mouse across, and you'll notice there's a little tiny colon in between. That colon says everything between the first cell and the last cell. Add them all together. So I don't have to use commas. In this case here, I'm just going to put a bracket, and I'm going to press enter, and it adds all of them together. So if I look at it carefully, 350 plus 10, 360, and therefore add 35 more brings it to 395. And again, I could just simply double click and it fills them all in. So this is one of the beautiful things about using a variety of different formulas, that the formulas will make it much easier for you. If I wanted to know, let me just zoom it back a little bit so we can all see where I'm going with this. If I wanted to know how many hours in total for all my employees, I could just simply click on B15. And instead of typing in sum, I'm going to let it do it automatically, because the closest thing to it is a number. And it will come all the way up here and it will add all these numbers together. So I'm going to go over to my auto. Again, this epsilon figure. I'm going to click on it. It automatically puts in sum, and it puts in the entire range. And when I press enter, it adds them all together. So it's done it automatically for me. I don't even have to think. And if I'm really lazy, remember that little square, the fill handle? I can simply drag it across, and it will calculate each one of these columns for me automatically. So this is a phenomenal tool. It is a real phenomenal tool. So the good news is we're going to take a 10-minute break. Some of you probably have been listening for a very long time now. We'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll meet back here again. So leave your teams open for the next 10 minutes. Just take a little break, and then we'll come right back again.
Michael, hi.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry because my Wi-Fi is not working well. I missed some of your announcement. So we still have the Cengage, right?
Yes, we do. Cengage, and
the training is there too.
the training is there as well. I'll be sending out a number for that shortly.
Yeah, because I've been looking yesterday for the access code. I can find. So
Yes, don't worry about it. And then maybe another half an hour, I'll send out that code.
okay, yeah, that's what I'm. So the same system we have like in Microsoft Word, we have quizzes,
right.
training, and projects, right?
That's right.
Okay, yeah, that's what I want to confirm because I missed some of the announcement. And yeah, thank you so much.
I'm recording this as well.
So we could.
Yeah, it'll be posted. Yeah.
Was Lailani been there in the call? Because I missed that too.
Yes, she was here as well. That was for the newest students. the
Okay, yeah,
students who have not actually been here before. So
Okay.
for all the students who are here with Word, I have a code, but I'll be giving you that code in about a half an hour.
Okay. Thank you so much, Michael.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're just taking a 10-minute break right now, and then
Sure,
we'll come
sure.
back.
Okay, thanks.
Fantastic. Are we all back?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
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 Excellent.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay. So now that we're all back, we're going to jump back in here again. Again, on the screen, what I have is that same sample document. I have in the chat, I have actually placed one new file that is the same file, but it has an extra tab called Flash Fill. So that's actually in the tab. There's three little buttons. Let me just pull this across here. There are three little buttons here. When you click on that, you can actually download that file. So don't just double click on it. Click on the download for the more tag here at the end, the three dots, and you'll have a copy of that file. I will also send that out to everybody, make sure that you have a fresh copy as well. So there's just a few more things that I need to cover, and we're going to take a look at Flash Fill as well. So there are other formulas. As I said, there are thousands of them, literally, depending on how you look at it, and combinations of them. I can't even begin to tell you how many combinations there are. So if I wanted to calculate the total number of hours, I could use the sum. But I could also use another formula called count. And in this case, there are many different counts, by the way. Counts for numbers, counts for letters, counts for a variety of different things. So I'm going to type in equal, and I'm going to type in the word count. And you'll notice that there's a list points out here at the bottom, and it's simply showing you all the different kinds of count. Okay, we're only going to use the first one, which is count. And then I want to put a bracket. And it wants to know, what do you want to count? Well, I could do this several different ways. Now, again, it has that comma, which means I could take the first one, put a comma, click on the second one, put a comma. You get the idea. Each one will be counted together. But I could just simply click on B5 and drag it down to the end here of B14, then release the mouse, and you'll notice a colon. That colon tells it everything in between. Okay, that's an important element. So everything in between will automatically give me exactly every one of these elements. Now I can just close it with a bracket. I'm in the wrong cell here. I just close that with a bracket. And I can either press tab or I can press enter. Either way. Okay, so Shakshi, I will actually send you a copy shortly. Just give me a couple of minutes and then I'll send it to everybody. Once again, so now I can put in count and I can press enter and it will count up how many rows are there. There are exactly 10 rows. So this is why it's giving me 10. And of course, if I wanted to make sure there was really only 10 rows, I could just copy this across and say, well, there shouldn't be any rows more than that. And there's only 10 here. So we can either use the element of, let's say, choosing to add them all up, or we can just simply decide to use the count feature. Now I'm just going to go back to up here, and I'm simply going to put in equal, and I'm going to click on E6, and then I'm going to add to that, and I'm going to add F6, and once again I'm going to press enter, and there again it's added that number together. Now again, if I double click on it, it will automatically fill that whole section. But there are some things that maybe I'd like to fill differently. So those two formulas, and by the way, we'll be looking at lots of formulas as we go along. So let me just go to the next tab called Flash Fill. Okay. In Flash Fill, I've given you a lot of different ways of looking at Flash Fill. Now, remember, I'm actually videotaping this, and that will be available in a few hours. So it'll be online for you in Teams in the resources section. But in this case here, there's several things I'd like to do. I'd like to strip off the first name. But in this cell, I actually have first and last name, and I'd like to actually have only the first name. So let's come over here. First name, I'll type in is Gary. A little scary. There's Gary. And I have some choices here. Now, if I just copy this down, it says that there's a scary Gary. But I also have some other tools available. Now, one of the things I can use is Flash Fill. Flash Fill is going to look at this and say, what is common here is the first name. So if I use Flash Fill, it'll strip off the first name. If I go to the next column, which says last name, well, if I type in Gary's last name, Miller, and again, I could do the same thing. I could copy this all the way down. But you know, there's another way of doing this, and that's hold down the Control key on the keyboard and press the letter E. Oops. Helps if I get out of there, come back here, letter E. And that does the same thing. Now, the reason it didn't work the first time, let me just go back and show you why. Remember I said there are two levels. The first level is inside, which means there's the only thing I can change is the font. But when I click away from it and click back to it, it's the whole cell. And now I can use Control E and fill. So Control E automatically fills all of these, and it strips off the last name. Just simply because I gave it an example and now it's learning from my example. Let's take a look at a different approach. So that was two different ways. Number one, just take that out. Number one was using something that is unique to all of them. And I simply copy it all down. And of course I get Gary all the way down. But when I use Flash Fill, that little icon and drop down, and I click on Flash Fill, it strips off the first name. And when I did the other one, okay, let me just delete that. I clicked on this cell, make sure there's no insertion point, and I held down the Control key and I pressed the key E. E is in elephant. There you go. And it automatically stripped off the second part. So what if I wanted to make an email? Some of you will be in administrative jobs or some job where maybe creating a list of emails might be necessary or creating a list of some kind. So what if I want to create an email? Well, I can do that too. Let's just say Gary, and I'll put a dot, and then I'll type in the last name, Miller, and then I'll put in that there, and we'll put in Trios student. So let's just say, oh, well, you know something? It took a long time to type this in, but now I have to do it for a whole list. Well, there is a simple way of doing this, and it's bring it all the way down here. Once again, remember, we get scary Gary. So rather than do it that way, what I'm going to do is make sure that I am on this particular, excuse me, there we go. Okay, so I'm on this particular email address, and I'm going to press Control and E. And it automatically goes through the whole list, and it builds up an email list for me. Well, that's not the only thing that we can do here. Let's come over here, because maybe what I'd like to do is change this a little bit. Gary Miller is all lowercase. So what if I wanted it to be uppercase? So let me just zoom up a little bit here. Fantastic. There we go. So I want it to be uppercase, so I can type it in that way. So Gary and Miller. And well, some of them, James is capital, but Willard is not. And of course, we have some of them that are and some of them that aren't. So once again, I can click on it and I can hold Control E, and it puts them all in correctly. So now they're all capitalized. Each word is actually capitalized. Now, again, we didn't have to do that. We could have done it the other way. Remember, click on it, drag it down here, and we have Scary Gary. And then we can actually take this little fill handle and put in flash fill. It automatically goes through them. And remember I said this before, there are 3 ways of doing this. So here's my Gary Miller. And on the Home tab, all the way across to Editing, you'll see Fill. And I'm just simply going to click on the little down arrow. And at the very bottom, it says Flash Fill. So I'm going to click on Flash Fill, and it automatically fills them. So now they're all here. The next possibility, well, there's a lot of different things we can do here. What if I only wanted, let's say, let's just say I wanted the first initial. Okay, so I'll type in G. And, well, what if I also wanted the last initial? Well, I can type in M. So GM. Now, here's a problem. There's 3 of them. And here's another one with 3. But I'm going to use flash fill. Now, I could, once again, drag it down. Let's try our new method. Again, I'm going to click away. I'm going to click back so that that insertion point's not there. And I'm going to go up to fill. I'm going to choose flash fill. Now, remember, I could have used Control E. I could have just simply copied it all the way down and then change it to flash fill. I'm going to use flash fill here. And look what it did. It put in the first character and the last character. So first character, the first name, first character, the last name, and yet where there were 3, it put all 3 in. Isn't that beautiful? This is a beautiful tool, I'm telling you. Okay, we still have some more. So let's take a look at some of these as well. Oh, there's a good one. What if you want to put both names together? Well, that's easy enough to do. We have Gary. I'll put a space and then I'll put in Miller. Fantastic. I'll just copy down this time. Oh, don't like that. So we're going to use our flash fill. And now it has both names in one cell instead of having 2 separate cells. Piece of cake. Oh, here's another one. So if you're not too sure, I have a dictionary that defines what a woman and what a man looks like. However, in this situation, we have a list that has a W for women and an M for men. So if I want to know which of the 2 it happens to be, then all I really have to do is type in what character it is. Well, it's a W. But here we have a slight problem because it may not be able to rationalize what it is we're actually looking at, because here we have a W at the beginning and we have a W that I'm trying to return. Okay, so we have the name, watch, scarf, shirt, and it's identified for which sex it happens to be. But because there's 2 W's, it's not going to know. So I'm going to help it a little bit. I'm going to go to the next row and I'm going to type in M because there's an M at the bottom, the end of scarf. So now when I actually select all of these down here, there we go. And again, I use, let's just use all of these again. And I'm going to choose fill up here and flash fill. Now that I've given it 2 examples of what I'm looking for, it's going to strip off the last character. And you'll notice that's exactly what it did. It found the W, it found the M, it found the W. So it's not confused by what would have existed in the first one. Fantastic. So we can strip that off as well. That's a piece of cake. This is really getting easy. However, what would happen if I had decided maybe what I really wanted was to put in the product? Well, I could have done that too. So we could have actually just simply put in watch. And unfortunately, it would have chosen just the name. So once again, we got it correct. How about the date? Now, in this case, we want the year. So once again, we can choose just the year. In this case here, it was 2019. And I just want the year. I don't want the rest of it. And once again, I could drag this all the way down here. And I could say flash fill. And it will change the date. The year actually changes, and we get the year here instead of all the rest of it. So one of the beautiful things about flash fill is it has the ability to grab information and then copy it down. Remember that fill handle is actually going to be really, really useful to us. It's going to help us actually be able to determine what kind of information we're really trying to get a hold of. Again, if I just simply type in a word, it will automatically allow me to put in all the rest of this information. So I can either copy it down, and notice that that tooltip always says Gary, or I could just simply Control E, and it automatically strips off whatever part I've given it, as long as it can recognize what I'm trying to strip away. Because here we have a space, and therefore it knows that's what I want. Piece of cake. So that autofill, and I will send that out in an email as well, just to make sure everybody has it, so that you're not without it. So one of the other things I definitely wanted to touch on here is your, just going to pull this across for a second. There we go. Is the course ID. Okay. Now this is, and listen carefully, this is only for the students who were with me in the Word course. When you log into Cengage, you're going to need the key for Excel. And there's always a little section there that says add a new course key. So the course key you're going to add in here happens to be this one here. And I'm just going to post it. So now it's posted. You only need the MTPNK9DQ3M9V. You need that course key at the end here. That's all you need, and you'll be able to access the Excel. For the newer students, you're going to do it a little bit differently, okay? For the newer students, and I'm going to let the students who have had Word before, I'm going to let you go to Cengage right now, start into your training, and this is the course key to use. I'll send an email as well to confirm it. So you can see this in the chat. For the newer students who are starting today, I want you to stay online for a few minutes because I'm going to walk you through the process of setting up your version. Okay, now you have the same thing, but you're going to enter it ever so slightly differently. So let me just pull that up. I need that for a moment. Here we go. I just need to do one thing very quickly. Okay, download. Good. Okay. So let me just move that aside, and I'm just going to close that up for a moment. Okay, for the newer students, just opening this up. Okay, fantastic. And I'm just simply going to, in your email, and let me open up one of the emails. I'll just block out some stuff here so that no one else can see what you're looking at. Inside of your particular email that you received from academic services. So this is from Trios Materials. Okay, you would have gotten an email that has a yellow section in it. Okay. Inside of this, there is a link. Okay, you'll click on this link. Okay, it says login Nelson Brain. It has a particular number associated with it. This is only for the new students that received this email. So you're going to click on this link. Okay, I'm going to click on it myself to open it up. There it is. So you'll get this link, and when you click on the link, this is what you'll see. It'll say Excel 2016. Your name will be here. Sorry, my name will be there. My apologies. You're going to put in the email address that you have, your email address. Hopefully you know what that is by now. That is your username. Okay, so you're going to put your username in here, create a new account. Once you do that, you'll click on create a new account, fill in the blanks. It's going to ask you some questions. These questions are only on Cengage. We don't have access to it. This is strictly for one reason. If something goes wrong, they'll be able to identify you. And then when you click after that to accept, then it's going to ask you to put in a course number. In other words, it's going to ask you to put in a very specific number. And that number is at the bottom of that email. So that email after your username has a access code which starts with 2 P's. So PP. Those 2 P's are actually what you need. You're going to type the whole number in. You can copy and paste if you want to. So I'd like you to do that. And let's just see that as you type that in, as soon as you have typed in that PP number, then press OK or next or what have you, whatever comes up. Fantastic, Nisha. So newer students, Joyta, yes?
Michael, can I leave because my Microsoft remote desktop is not working, so I'll call the technical department.
Yep, not a problem.
Thank you. Take care.
Yep. For everyone, you can actually leave at this point and go to Cengage, except for the newer students. I'd like them to stick around until I know they've logged in to Cengage.
Have a great day, Michael. Thank you.
Yep, take care.
Thank you, Michael. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Michael. Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.
Hi, Michael.
Yep, go ahead.
I'm not able to click on that link. Did you just show to put?
Did I just the link that was in your email?
Yes, I got that email, but I'm not able to click on that link.
What happens when you click on the link?
It's I didn't get the arrow to click on that link.
Arrow to click on the link. Hold on a second.
Yeah, it's nothing show up.
Let me just find you here.
Okay.
Chadinder, is it?
Yes.
Chadinder. It should have a little hand. When you put your mouse over that link.
Yeah, login. Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't see any hand on that.
Oh, you put your mouse over it?
Yes.
And nothing came up?
No.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll just give me a second. I'll set it up. Hold on. Okay, I have to unshare my screen so that people don't look at it. Just give me a second to unshare this. Okay. Okay, Tejinder. Tejinder? Tejinder? Hello, Tejinder? Aurora. Tejinder? Hello? Knock, knock. Oh, crap. Tejinder? Knock, knock. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay. Tejinder, is your last name Kerr Aurora, or is it just Aurora?
Kaur is my middle name. Last name is Arora.
Okay, Aurora. So I'm going to send you, I'm going to put in here the year 2000 for birth date,
Okay.
and you can always change it later. For the secret question, I'm putting in pet, a name of a pet, and I'm just simply typing in cat.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just doing this so that I can set it up for you very quickly. Your
Okay.
password is going to be, and I'll send that to you, by the way.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and oops, where is it? Fantastic. Okay, Tejinder.
Yes.
Okay, so you can log into that account. Just give me one quick second to send you a link. I'll send the information to you. Hold on a second. I just find you here.
Okay, I got that link.
Okay, now I'm sending you your user account.
Okay.
Okay, good. And then I'm going to send you your password as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Oops, easy. So let's do this again. Okay, there's your password. Just log in to make sure that you can log in.
Okay.
Did you log in?
Michael, you know what? I'm not able to log in. Okay, I'm gonna use this one and let's see. Because I'm not able to log in on my laptop. I'm trying on my phone, which is working now.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know how.
you need your laptop.
Yeah.
With a browser, unless you have a restriction on it, it should allow you to connect directly in.
Should be open on the laptop. I don't know how. Why it's not working.
Try a different browser then.
Okay.
Shakshmi, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Tajinder, just going to put you. I'm just going to mute you for a little while. I'm going to deal with the other student for a moment, and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, no problem.
Okay. So Shakmi, I'm going to set you up as well. So just give me a moment.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. It takes me a minute to do that. Okay. Okay. Shakmi. So Shakmi, the same thing. I'm going to, when I set you up, I'm going to make your birth date 2000. You can always change it later.
Mhm.
And your keyword will be cat for security question.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, you can change that as well, whatever you want in your profile.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so give me a second. I'm just setting this up. Paste and this one. Paste. Okay, good job. Okay, so Shakshmi,
Yeah. Yes, Michael.
okay, so I'm just simply going to send you a message.
Okay.
You do have access to your email, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly send you an email.
Okay.
Give me 1 second to make sure I get your stuff here. That's the one. Okay. And okay, username. Let me know as soon as you get the email.
No, not now. No, not yet.
Just give me 1 second. Sent it to the wrong address. Did you get it yet?
No, Michael. I haven't not received an email.
Are you checking your Trios email?
Oh, 1 second. Mm,
Did you check your email yet?
Oh, 1 second, 1 second. Just give me 2 seconds, Michael.
Yep.
I think my Wi-Fi sucks me. Mm, No, Michael, I did not get it any email.
You're checking your Trios email?
Yes, yeah. Yes,
And
yes.
it's not there. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to check this account. Let's go to edit.
Yeah. I received the email. Yes, yes.
Okay, you got it?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, thank you.
Well, log in and let me know that you can log in before I
Oh, okay, okay,
disconnect.
okay. Thank you.
Michael,
Yeah?
I'm able to log in. I need to register the course key. That one, the PP one.
No, it's done. When you log in, it
Mm-hmm.
should take you to Excel.
Okay.
Okay, you'll see open.
Open, yeah.
Click on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I've already put your course key in, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Okay, and who's next? Okay. Okay, Tajinda, are you still out there?
Yes.
Did you get it up?
Yes.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Okay, so you can disconnect and start working on that site, and then tomorrow again log in at 8 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
yeah, take care.
You too.
Okay. Is there anyone else out there with the issues? Anyone left?
Hi, Michael. I
Yep,
have a question.
yep,
So, I entered my email,
yep.
and what I have to enter in password.
For password, put any password that you will remember. I would suggest TRI. Have you got access to the chat right now?
Yeah.
This is the password I would use for the time being. This
Okay.
means that I can help you if you run into any problems. You'll have to confirm it.
So first I have to create a new account, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. T-
Yeah, I log in successfully. So
Okay. And it's going to ask you for that PP number.
enter your access code they are asking for.
Yeah, the access code is that PP number on the email.
Okay. But I did not it's on my Trio's email, right?
It's in the Trios email. There's
Okay.
an email there from Trios Materials.
Okay. Actually, this is for my first time, so sorry to troubling you.
Not a problem. Okay, this one here.
I think I messed up everything. They said me to pay now due $145.
No. Have you entered the PP code yet?
Yes.
No. Have you entered the PP code exactly the way it was in the email?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, 1 second. The code you enter is not valid. Please check your code and re-enter it.
Okay. So number one, what I want you to do is log out of there. I'm going to log in and set it up. Did you put the Trios password I just gave you?
Yes, the MTP, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Just give me 2 minutes and I'll set it up for you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Where are we? Okay. Okay. Shakti?
Yes, Michael.
Okay. So what I want you to do is you're going to log in
Mm-hmm.
again. Just you go to log in.
Okay.
Okay. Use your password.
Okay. So I have to enter my email which you guys provided to me, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
That's your username. And then your password. And it should automatically take you in.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Now I can, yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Michael.
Not a problem. Okay, Kadian? Yep, go ahead.
I'm not sure if I did it right or not.
Okay, can
This
you
is
log
where I left off.
you've
Sorry?
logged out? Did you just log out?
My computer wasn't, my Wi-Fi would keep on cutting out on me.
Oh, okay.
So I had to log back in my phone.
Okay. Have you logged into Cengage yet?
Yeah, I got in as far as the payment part.
Oh, there is no payment. Right beside the payment on the left-hand side is another section that asks you for the number.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, you did that?
Yes, for
Then,
this process.
yeah, at the bottom there should be a continue or something like that.
Okay. It says use my access code.
Yeah, that's that PP number.
Okay, and it says this code, the code you entered has already been used.
Okay, log out. What password did you use?
The
You can always
PP,
change it. Go ahead.
the password.
Yeah.
I just created my, it said to sign up and everything and created my own password.
Yes. You can always change it. I just need to log
Okay.
in to correct your account.
Oh, okay. Uppercase S,
Okay.
SWE.
Can you put it in the chat?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
You can always change it.
The chat, put in the chat. There you go.
Okay. Okay. Make sure you've logged out. I'll just put this in.
Log out of the
Out of Cengage.
Cengage.
Just,
Log out of
yeah,
Cengage.
just Cengage. Oh, you've already done it.
Oh, it was right?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
done. So all you need to do is just log in again.
Okay. This is as far as I got to it. I didn't do anything else.
Everything is there. Just log in and put your password in.
Right here?
Well, whatever. Oh, it's Cengage.
Okay. Log out. Okay. Oh. Okay. Do I log back in now?
Yeah. If you can, once you log in, you should see Excel as a program. Just click on that link and yeah, it'll take you in.
Okay.
see if it's this one or that.
Is it? Is it this one? Chrome
So
or internet? We do Chrome or internet?
it doesn't matter as long as you're using that link.
Okay.
You'll notice a link there. It says login. Yep. And okay, that's it. Just put in your email address. And the password you created. There you go. And you'll see open.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You got it.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And then I just put
the PP code. Yep.
Okay. So that's what comes up.
Wait a minute. The code you entered has already been used. Just leave it there for 1 second so I can see this code.
I forgot. They're up there. They're up there. I found it out there.
Charger was in the box.
No, it wasn't actually. I thought I had mine up there, but when the moment I went downstairs, I got the one from downstairs. That one's mine. It was the same thing anyways.
Just want to, can you give me control of this? Yep, that's it. Back on. Second here. Oh, okay. You're already logged in. Oops. Thank you. Okay, you're already logged in. So it's you're already there. Just gonna release that. Okay. Let's just turn that sucker off. Oops. You can take it back at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is where we're going to be, right?
Yep, that's it. And when you click on Excel, it'll open it up for you. You can click on each one.
Okay. And this is what we need to start doing?
Yep, the
Okay.
training.
I have a quiz. Wednesday. And then Friday.
So I'm all good now?
You're all good. You can take it away.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
See a little one with an X on it? That's it. Fantastic. Okay, who else? Okay, Dimilis, I'm going to take a look at yours now as well. So just give me a moment. Dimily. Paste. And Eastern. There we go. Good. Okay, Emily, you're all set up. All you need to do is use that link, the link that's there in the email. Emily, are you still there? Let's see. The list I would. Emily, are you out there?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So have you logged in yet?
No, I can't open it. Can you send it to me again?
Okay, so excuse me. What I what I want you to do is log into Cengage with the link that they sent you.
I can't open the link.
Oh, you can't open the link?
Yes.
Oh, that's
It's not
interesting.
letting me to get in. So that's what I'm saying. If you can send me again.
Okay, so I'm going to put the link inside of the chat so that you can access it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, let me just copy the link here. Just click on that link. Uh,
Mike, the email I have to put in there is my personal email or Trio's email.
no, the Trios email.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm going to give you a password here for it.
Okay.
This is just for Cengage. I'm putting it in the chat as well. You can always change this, so don't worry about it. But use this password. This way, if something goes wrong, I can go in and help you.
Okay.
Have you logged in?
Not yet.
Not yet. Let me know when you've logged in. How are we doing?
Good. I need a password. Good.
New password is TRI, capital O, capital S, 123. David Lee, how's it going?
Hold on. Wait. Say the email.
You're logged
Say
in?
the email. No. Say the email are invalid.
Okay, so can you share your screen with me? You'll see let me just show you Teams for a moment. Okay. You should see my screen right now.
No. Yes.
Okay. You see the little bar here? You have a bar like this too.
Yeah.
And you have an icon here that has an arrow on it. Okay,
Okay.
I want you to click on that, and then you'll see your desktop. Click on the picture of the desktop.
Okay. You get it?
There you go. Now I can see it. Okay. So you need let me just double check what you've typed in here. I need to bring the email over too. Hold on. Okay, DIA, MEL. Oh, there's an S at the end of your first name. Just put an S after the Y. Okay. GON ZALA LE EZ student. And passwords. Oh, it says invalid email. Hold on. Type in password TRI capital O, capital S, 1, 2, 3. Create account. Yep. Student.
Email again.
Yeah, type in that same email.
Oh, here, create account or here?
Yeah, type it in here for email address, the new student. Inside of new student.
Here?
Yeah, that's right. That's the one. Good job. Just remember that S. And Eastern Standard Time. No. Just click on that little icon.
Where?
No. Select, you'll see the little circle at the beginning. Yeah. Click on that. Click on time zone, double click on it. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Go down to the next one. Next question. Okay, before you go any further, go back up to time zone. Click on it.
I think the password is not right.
Yeah, it should give you a list. You can always click the little I there and it will show you what you're typing. Okay. Can you give me control of your machine for a moment? Okay. So let me just scroll up a bit. Okay. You got that one, this one here. Is this the Trios you're typing in?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Okay, and time zone. The connection's all slow here. Oops, hold on. Do you see Eastern there somewhere?
Oh, this one?
Yeah, Eastern.
This?
That's the one. That's the good one. Okay. Let me just check why it's coming up with an error here. TRI. Okay, is that what's being seen? Yep. Good. Okay, now you can accept and you can create. Okay, Canada. Okay, institution. Trios. So this is going to be show all. Province, Ontario. And city. It's a slow process. Brampton. It's down near the bottom. Not less. No. Just missed it. Let's go back. Brampton.
Oh, Brampton.
Yeah. And find. Then go down to Trios College. It's alphabetical. So let's go down here. That's the one. Okay, good. So this is where the PP number goes in, right there. So from your email, just copy the PP number. And just minimize that a little bit. Yep, you gotta type in your email address. There you go. Okay, take the S out for a moment. I think what they might have done was, no? Wait, 1 second, I'm just checking your email account to see what is the difference between what you're typing in. Uh, just wondering if I can add here. Okay, just a minute. Diamelys and S. Trios. Oops. Triosstudent.com. W. What's the last character of your password? Just type it in there. Oh. Type in your Trios password. The password they gave you, not for Cengage, but for your password for Trios.
I don't remember the password.
Okay, let me see if I can type this in. Oops. Okay. Okay, scroll down a little bit. See the PP code? Copy that whole code. There you go. The whole thing. Good. Oh, I'll bet you because you had a space at the front of it. Just remove any space at the beginning. Just backspace.
You want a space?
No. I just want to make sure there is no space there. Okay, register again. I'll click here for error detail. Oh, whatever. Well, since you've created the account, let's just go back here for a minute. I'm just going to log out for a moment. Okay, so let's go down and try OS. There we an error. Just need to correct that email address you typed in. There we go. Try OS. Take out the ON. That's better. Yep. Log in. Yep, there we go. And no, you got it. Just click on open. Fantastic. You're in. Good show. There you go. Now you can click on Excel and it will open it up. There you go. And each one of those categories getting started has a little arrow beside it. You can click on that, it'll open it up. So the first one is today and tomorrow. You'll see the training there. There's a link. Fantastic. So if you click on that link,
Which one?
click on that where it says getting started with the training. Second link, there you go. And you can open this anytime you want now. Just remember your password. When you typed it in, it's recorded that you had that O in. You're going to have to delete that every time. Okay. And when you click on start, it'll start up the training.
Okay.
Okay. And you can stop sharing your window at this point. You're all set. And we'll see you again tomorrow morning.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Yeah. So remember that little icon, the rectangle with the arrow? Now it has an X in it. Just click that once.
Which one? Here?
No, the rectangle that has share. It's beside your microphone.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's got an X in it. There you go. Fantastic.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, take care. Anyone else with an issue?